welcome back to the Why So Serious podcast. We are back on our Road to Infinity War series. And today we are reviewing Thor, the first Thor in 2011. The powerful but arrogant god Thor is cast out of Asgard to live amongst humans in Midgard, where he soon becomes one of their finest defenders. I guess today we have to have Mike and Devin, but what do you guys think of this film? I guess I'll start with you, Mike. Mike?
Yeah, sorry, you cut out for a second. What did you say?
What did you think about this film?
I like Thor a lot, actually. I remember very specifically, what year was this come out? It was in like
2011.
Yeah, okay, so I was right. I remember I was in high school, and I went with all my high school friends to see it, and I didn't know very much about Thor, and to be honest, I wasn't into it when I went to the theater, because I used to not be a fan of these when they take things from mythology and just kind of turn them into superheroes. I used to think that was kind of like a ripoff, but I went to the theater with my friends and I watched this movie, and this was before I got super into comics, so now I go to any comic book movie because I just expect them to be entertaining and great, especially if it's a Marvel project. But back then, I just went because my friends were going. I didn't have this huge desire to see it on my own. And I remember sitting there and I was like, this movie was funny. It was hilarious. It was awesome. The action was good. And I didn't expect it to be that good either because I remember at the time the big rumor was. I said this a couple weeks ago when we did, I think it was Captain America, that they were just rushed to these projects just so they could introduce these characters for Avengers, which was coming out shortly after. And so I was like, I don't know if it's going to be good. I heard people were upset because it was rushed, but I enjoyed it. It's not the best, it's not perfect, but I liked it better than Incredible Hulk. I think I even liked it better than Iron Man 2 just because it's a fun movie, except Thor's really annoying in the beginning. But I enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
Devin, what'd you think?
I always was a fan of Thor from when I was young. I used to play X-Men's Marvel Alliance and those video games, and Thor was awesome in those games.
Game's awesome.
I kind of knew about Thor. He's pretty fun. It was pretty fun. He's always funny. His battles with the Hulk were really good in the comic books before the movie came out and stuff like that. But the movie was great. Natalie Portman, revisiting it, Natalie Portman gets on my nerves more than I realized that she did in the beginning. The first time I saw it, I think I was just riding a wave that she's Padme and shit like that, and I gave her a pass. But she was annoying as shit the second time I watched it. Chris Hemsworth is fucking Thor. It's awesome. But to see him younger. And to see how Thor has evolved as far as now he pretty much is Odin, and then there's a scene in the movie where when the Destroyer smacks him and he puts that shit over his eye, it's where the eye patch is and shit. So it's kind of cool. And now to see him with short hair is awesome. So overall I love the movie and it's exciting and there's a lot of action in it. There's funny parts and I love the girl from Two Broke Girls and. Only thing I'm mad is she didn't show her titties off because that's what her thing is now. But other than that, man, it was a great movie, man. It's enjoyable. I watched it with my mom, and she enjoyed it. She looked at it for the first time, so maybe it was her first time, but she enjoyed it, and she said she liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film. It's kind of startling watching this, seeing where the Thor character is going now and how this film wasn't meant to be funny. That was up for a few funny lines, but it was funny.
I was going to say that.
Whereas Thor Ragnarok was designed to be funny and it was hilarious. So it's interesting to see how the character has moved more towards comedy, even though he's a relatively serious character. And he's still one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. So that's very interesting to see. I also really I thought the cast did a good job. Like I said, Natalie Portman is she's okay, I guess. But I thought the rest of the cast did an excellent job. Again, Clark Gregg Coulson is just in this role, he's basically the thing that ties all these characters together, which is excellent to see, and go back and watching it in that way. And I think it'll all culminate next week when we go watch the Avengers. But I think it's really good seeing that as well. So I guess I'll start this one by, first one of the funniest things was in the first part of the movie. They're like chasing this fucking like occurrence that she's looking at, that Jane Foster, Natalie Portman's character, is looking at, and Kat Dennings' character is basically like, she starts turning away and she's like, I'm not dying for these 6 college credits. And I said, that is the smartest person in this car.
Yes.
Because I never understand these films, why they go straight to this danger. And I'm like, who are these people? Well, you see this fucking crazy thing in this fucking storm, and you're going to be like, I'm going to run right into it. Like, that just seems so crazy to me. So I'm glad they had a character that did something like that.
No, but they also had when Eric was trying to save Natalie from Jane from fucking Thor, like, yo, this dude is a fucking stranger talking all this crazy shit. Bitch, don't go nowhere with him by yourself.
Right. I was like, he's right. If I saw some fucking dude talking about that shit, what? Go ahead, Mike.
This movie, you're so right when you say it was not meant to be funny, but it was. Actually, I think I would say I've watched this movie more than many of the other Marvel movies because I watch it with my sisters, and they don't even like superhero movies that much, but it's just so funny to them. And it's like, I think the movie is funny, and you're right. I think my favorite like comedic scene, actually, oddly enough, is that part where they're eating at the diner, and he drinks coffee. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Smashes, yeah.
It smashes it on the ground.
I'll have more.
I'll have another one.
Adjusting to Earth, like when he's like adjusting to Earth life, that's like, and just like the faces he makes. But Darcy's like, go smile for the camera, and he's like chewing it. That look he gives, like,
yeah,
I wish
Chris Hemsworth is funny as shit. Like, I don't think people understand that. Every film I see him now, I just die. People shitted on that Ghostbusters movie. I actually enjoyed it. But he was funny as fuck in that fucking film. He was hilarious in that film. He's hilarious in Thor Ragnarok. He's great in both Avengers films. He is really good. And he has every part. He can do the comedy stuff, but he actually, when you see him, it's similar to Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man, where when I see Chris Hemsworth now, I immediately think Thor. Like,
Thor, yeah.
He just looks like Thor. Like, he looks like
that movie, he was with his brother. They were like saving the fucking the town. And like from like Soviet Unions or whatever, I don't know who the fuck was taking over the town, but him and his brother were in the movie, and that shit was really good. I can't remember what it's called. I saw it, Red something, but that was really fucking good movie. But he's great.
Yeah, Red Dawn.
Yeah.
I really enjoy him. So the beginning of the film starts with like Thor crashing down to Earth, and they trying to figure out what it is. And then it does a quick flashback to Asgard. And
they hit him with a car though. Like that's the funniest shit ever.
They did him with a car. But Asgard. First of all, the special effects of Asgard always looks beautiful. The reason why I like this film is the Asgard scenes, because I felt like when they got to Earth, it got kind of boring to me. But the Asgard, the stuff that was happening in Asgard, where they kind of gave you a background of like Odin coming to save Earth from the the frost giants, and then him being the king and having these 2 kids, or Thor and Loki, and talking about wanting to be king, and then they fast forward to like Thor's fucking crowning ceremony, and then you see like this frost giant like somehow got into Asgard, was trying to take back their power. But they got stopped by this big fuck. What is that machine called?
The Destroyer.
The Destroyer. This big fucking machine, the Destroyer, fucks them up. So at this point, Thor wants to go fuck the ice giants up. So this is where I was talking about with funny, where it's not supposed to be funny. So like it's supposed to be like a serious scene where Thor's like, let's go there and destroy them. We're the fucking Asgardians, the kings.
Like you once did, Dad.
Yeah. And he's so serious. Cool. And I'm like, why are you so extra with this? Like, why are you so angry and so
He's like worse than Tony Stark.
He's so hyper masculine. Like, he's just all about, like, I'm going to go fuck these people up. Let's go fuck him up. And
also, real quick comment. Even though he couldn't be here today, he thought he was going to be able to watch it. We ended up having some unexpected company in our apartment. But I watched it with Big Mike. and he's like, well, we're watching the Asgardian scenes, and he's like, imagine like taking this movie and bringing it back to like the 70s or like the 60s and like showing them like how awesome these scenes look. Like they would just lose their shit. Like
Asgard looks unbelievable. Like it just looks,
especially because it's not even like it's that was pretty good even for that time. That was
that was 2011. Also, it was very good to see Thor back in his full Thor getup, which we haven't seen in a while. Because he doesn't really wear that in Avengers 2, in Ultron, or in Ragnarok. So I really like the comic book. And that costume is like super comic book accurate. Which is one of the things I always talk about with the X-Men films and why they don't do as well. Is we've seen so many X-Men films and we've never seen any of them.
Wolverine.
Not just Wolverine. We haven't seen any of them in their comic book outfits. None of them.
Cyclops is the closest. He's the closest.
Yeah, it's just his visor.
Yeah, it's just visor.
But the rest of none of them wear their comic book outfits because they're trying.
He wears sunglasses too for most of the time.
He does wear sunglasses, and because
doesn't make any sense to me. By the way, well, that's different. We should do a whole episode on the X-Men and how terrible.
We may go back and revisit some of those shitty films. I don't know, but yeah. So we never see any of the X-Men in any of their costumes from the cartoons or from the comic books that people recognize. And when you see Thor, the first time you see grown-up Thor. He's in his full suit with the helmet and everything. The helmet, the cape, the fucking chest, the armor, the fucking hammer. And it's just like, this is fucking Thor. This is how you come out the box with Thor. Because if we're going to be honest, Thor is a kind of character that's kind of, to get the mainstream audience to get behind would be difficult, which is why I think they moved Thor into the comedic role that he's in, because he's kind of a one-note character if you read him in the comic books.
He's a dude, bro. He's a fucking dude, bro. He really is.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
At the beginning. Dude, bro.
And all of his comic book stuff, he's a dude, bro. Like,
I was talking about in the movie, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's definitely
also,
in the movie.
I have a question about the movie. How long was he on Earth for, in your opinion? Because I don't know if there was not really accurate. I was wondering that, because
I was going to bring that up, and something I didn't like was trying to, because at one point,
I feel like it was too quick of a character. Like it needed to happen, but like I feel like he went because he was just so drastically like
maybe 3 days, maybe.
No, but here's the thing.
I was hoping.
No, but here's the thing. At one point, his friends, Lady Sif, and the rest of them, they were like, yesterday Thor got banished, but it seemed like 2 or 3 days had passed on Earth.
Right.
When they said that, because I think time is different in Asgard than it is on Midgard.
They gotta explain that because I'm confused now. Because,
but it's definitely more than 2 or 3 days.
If it was 3 days, though, I definitely feel like
it's definitely
the
more
one
than
thing
3
I would
days
like about the movie was like that's totally too quick of a character change for Thor.
That's because you had the first day where he crashed, and then the next day, and then the next day was after they woke up for breakfast.
No, hospital. Oh yeah, so he was in the hospital.
Yeah, he's in the hospital, and then it was after that. He went to hang out he went to look for shit. And then the next day is when they woke up and had breakfast, when he was like, I want this, I want the coffee. And so then that's when he went to look for the hammer. And then that night was when he tried to get the hammer and didn't get the hammer. And so then
so it's not been very long.
No, so that's at least 4 days. So then he was locked up in S.H.I.E.L.D. The S.H.I.E.L.D. arrested him. And that was at least another day when he was in S.H.I.E.L.D. before he got out of there, before they came and got him out of there. And then we saw a couple more days pass because remember he was staying in like the fucking trailer, like the Winter Bagel thing, and he cooked for them, I guess, apparently.
How does he know how to cook? You
don't think Asgardians eat?
No, they do, but he's the king.
He's not.
You ever know what king you know that makes their own meals?
That doesn't mean he doesn't know how.
I don't know. Look at him before.
First of all,
on Asgard, he was all arrogant.
He what? That was the point. He lost everything, and he was trying to like. I guess he realized that he had to be more humble in order to get like.
In a week, though. I mean, I love the movie. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like
the time frame was ridiculous. I agree.
But you gotta realize he's still a hero. He still fights the good fight.
Yeah, but he's always that's the point.
But he definitely wasn't a hero in the beginning. He was gonna do what Loki was trying to do at the end. At the beginning, he was a hero.
Yes.
Yes.
The whole point.
No, he was trying to eradicate the frost giants as a race.
No.
No.
He was trying to make sure they feared his father.
Yes,
still.
he was trying to teach them a lesson. He was like, we need to go teach these people a lesson for coming here and fucking with us. He was not trying to eradicate them as a race. He wasn't trying to destroy their entire planet. He was trying to go, like pull his dick out and be like, don't fuck with me, that type of shit.
My other favorite part, by the way, is when his like Odin came and he was like, "Father, we can take them out together."
Yeah, that shit was funny.
Odin's like, "Shut up! What are you
He's like,
stupid?"
But here's the thing:
take them together.
I don't think that line was supposed to be funny. Like, I don't think that was
hilarious.
Written as
this
a
is the
funny
way
line.
he says things, though.
Yes, it's like in Ragnarok. I can't wait till we get to Ragnarok. But it's like in Ragnarok where he's in the fucking battle and the Hulk comes out and he's like, "Oh my God, we work together."
From where?
He wasn't. Oh my God! It wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was hilarious.
That line was written
Marvel
to be
does
funny.
casting just so perfectly. It's just like, what do you? It's just so perfect.
It is perfect.
For the main characters, some of their villains.
Great.
So here's the thing about this film: is Loki's the villain of this film? I'm guessing. I think the Frost Giants was a red herring, and the real villain.
They didn't really do anything
Loki.
at all.
Yeah, the Frost Giants really didn't do shit. They ain't really fucked nobody up. Did you guys remember Loki being a Frost Giant?
Frost Giant?
Yeah.
No, not.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
It's not like I forgot it, but I was like, oh yeah, like that's a thing they never re-explored.
Right, because I remember, like, I was like, that is this half brother. Yeah.
Like I know,
I just wanna know,
I know
like,
that he's
what kind of-
adopted because they make jokes about that in the later films.
Right.
But I didn't know. I didn't remember that he was a Frost Giant.
No, but like you instantly see it when he turns blue. Like, oh shit. Oh, okay, that's why. Okay.
Also,
And that's crazy.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go.
It's crazy that that's a inner dialogue that man has. He's like, well, what do I fit in? Because a Frost Giant just touched me and it didn't hurt. Like,
yeah, yeah.
like what's happening? Like, that can't be normal. And
Also,
like,
in that scene, they had the fucking big ass fucking Frost like
Bruh.
beast.
Whole thing.
yo,
and that
he
fucking
blew his
beast-
brains out.
That
Oh
fucking
my
beast
God.
didn't do anything. They built up this anticipation of seeing like this big thing, and I'm like,
Got
oh,
his
it's about to be a big ass
Got
fight.
his brains blown the fuck
And
out.
he
That
climbed
shit's
up
crazy.
there, and all Thor did was fucking fly with his hammer and go right through him. And I was like, that was kind of underwhelming.
That shit was crazy. I was like, yo.
He does that at the beginning of every. Remember, he did it at the beginning of Thor 2 too. Oh wait, that sounded weird. You know what I mean? At the beginning of Thor 2, he
Thor:
like
Dark World.
yeah, he like killed that giant monster when they were at war with Lady Sif. And Lady Sif was fighting with Thor, and he like killed that giant monster. Like he blew her. It like yelled at him or roared, and he like blew it to dust. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, but yes. Also, I got a kick out of this. I don't know if you guys got much of a kick out of this as I did, but I thought all the Donald Blake Easter eggs were funny as shit. Because
I was wondering if that was an Easter egg. Explain that to me.
so
I meant to Google his name. And see
in
what
the
came
comic books, in the back in the Silver Age when it started, Thor was Donald Blake. Donald Blake is a doctor who has a cane, and he walks. He's got like a little limp, and he has a cane, and he's a doctor. And so basically, Thor went on this expedition somewhere, and he ended up in this fucking cave, and he ended up like seeing these monsters. The Donald Blake did, and Donald Blake was like scared, so he like slammed his cane twice against like the wall. And when he slammed his cane twice, it turned him into Thor. So Donald Blake was like he had like an alter ego originally in the comic books. It was Donald Blake.
Oh, cool.
And so he would turn into the mighty Thor, and then he'd be Thor and shit. And then he turned back into Donald Blake. But what it ended up being was that Donald Blake was always so basically he didn't know, and he doesn't remember this. He thinks it's like a totally different person or something like that. But what comes to find out is that he's always been Thor. But what happened was they revisited that. Essentially what happened in this film is that he did something that pissed Odin off. And so Odin stripped him of all his power and his Thor and sent him to Midgard and made him forget who he was. And so he ended up being this Donald Blake, this doctor and this MD. And but he was always Thor the entire time. So they kind of got rid of, they phased that out. So like now in the comic books, there's no Donald Blake. There's just Thor. But I did think I thought I got a big kick out of the Donald Blake Easter eggs. The first one was like when Jane she's like, oh, that's my ex-boyfriend, Donald Blake, which is funny because Donald Blake's in love with Jane in the comics, and it's the 60s shit where he's always like, I wonder if Jane knows that I'm the mighty Thor inside. When I slap my cane 2 times, like that type of shit.
The mighty Thor.
Yes, he always tells us the mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor, yeah.
And then fucking Selvig came back and was like, oh yeah, this is Dr. Donald Blake, and when he was talking to Coulson trying to get him out of there. So I thought that was good as well. What you guys think about Shield's role and seeing Hawkeye for the first time?
Thought it was dope.
Dope,
Hawkeye
but
was
like
dope.
he didn't do anything. Like I remember watching it and remember it. Like I was like, oh yeah, Hawkeye makes his first appearance in this movie, but he doesn't. He just like talks for a little bit. So it was kind of left me wanting more.
They did kind of present him as like a badass because they were like, all right, Barton, get up there, and they have all these guns, and then you just see him take a bow and arrow. You're like, all the fucking guns, you take a bow and arrow.
Like, oh shit, you know who that is?
Yeah, you know exactly who that is. That was kind of cool. What did you guys think about S.H.I.E.L.D.'s role in this and how they reacted to fucking the hammer and to this fucking guy? Well, all right, here we go. Here's a better question.
Yeah,
what did you think about that scene where he fucking ran through their fucking perimeter of the hammer?
He's dead.
Awesome.
He's fucking dead. He's fucking dead. Fuck, real talk. He's dead. Put him down. That's not believable, but it's the movie, so it's supposed to happen. He doesn't have God.
He's like a god, though.
He doesn't have any God
He
powers.
didn't have his God powers then. Remember, because regular people was fucking him up.
He is fucking dead. That is
Like
not happening.
He's pretty formidable.
He's strong, but shit. Like
He's just regular strong there, though. He wasn't like God strong because remember the big guy, the big fucking security dude just fucking took him down?
True.
And then when he's fucking Thor, he fights the Hulk. So yes, he didn't have his powers at all. There, he was just. He even said it. Remember later when the fucking destroyer comes to Earth, and he's like, "We can get these people out of here. I'm just a man right now. They'll go fight." So the Asgardians went and fought him, and not him originally. When the destroyer
it's also funny to see the human elements are like, okay, he's fighting. Don't tase me, bro. And fucking cat got him.
Oh yeah, that shit was so good. Oh no, that line was so funny. He was like, "You think you could take the mighty Thor with such a puny weapon?" And he fucking tases him. He's out. That is so funny.
And then the fucking hospital and shit.
Oh yeah, same thing happened in the hospital where he's like, "I'm the mighty Thor," and he always says that. That's straight out of the comic books. I'm trying to tell you, and I read some of the old shit for Thor, and he's always like, I'm the mighty Thor. He's always the mighty Thor when he refers to himself. It's hysterical. But yeah, I thought Thor on Earth was funny in some parts, but I thought the overall aspect, I was far more interested in what was going on in Asgard than what was going on Earth. It just kind of was boring to an extent. Just him walking around being boring.
They set it up to be simple, a simple snatch and grab. Him just going to just go grab his hammer, and everything was going to be good. And you feel like, oh shit, like we ain't really getting it in the movie, and then you finally realize that he's not worthy enough to grab Mjolnir, and you're just like, oh, okay, well now we have some more movie left, you know.
So did you think he was going to grab it that time, or did you know that was going to be a red herring?
You got to know he's not going to, because you know we're just adults and we fucking can understand that this movie's not going to be over in 45 minutes. But yeah, no, like it sets up that like everything's going to be good, like. If you've never seen Thor, you don't know anything about this shit, you would definitely be like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna grab that."
So if you were fucking Darcy or Selvig, what at what point would you finally believe that he's Thor? Like for me, it had to be when he turned into fucking Thor. Because all the other shit, I'd have been like, "This is a crazy motherfucker."
Absolutely.
No, you know what? I take that back. When the other Asgardians came.
Oh yeah.
By the way, Brandon.
Yeah.
You'd be proud of me. I picked up on racism in this movie.
What'd you pick up?
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Tell me.
Did you guys pick it up?
No.
when the Lady Sif and the Warriors 3 are walking, the guards are like, we got to close. And he's like, we got Xena, Jackie Chan, and someone else. That's right. That's right.
Yes.
That
Look
is
at you.
true.
You're an ally.
I'm learning.
You are learning. That was funny.
Jackie Chan.
So yeah, because the whole time I'm like, they're being really nice to this fucking crazy person. Like, this guy is clearly a crazy person.
No. Let's pump our brakes. She wanted to fuck the whole time, not some of the time, but the whole time.
Well, so did Darcy actually.
Darcy kind of.
No, remember when Thor woke up and he didn't have his shirt on, and she's just staring at him.
Yeah.
For a crazy homeless guy, he's kind of cut.
Yeah, narrowly. Yeah,
Jane
definitely wanted to fuck from the get go. And Thor's like that's not even picking up on it, which is so fucking funny. He's just being fucking Thor, and that shit was great.
Doesn't Lady Sif want Thor too?
That's what I was.
Lady Sif does date Thor in the comic books. Yes,
in the comic books.
I think in the movies though, she's a crush on him.
I think so, but they never really played that up in this film.
Yeah, they do.
They didn't play it up. They just saw him. He caressed her face, but like other than
in the second movie, someone makes a comment.
I said in this movie. In this movie.
Oh. Well, then you're right.
What'd you guys think of Idris Elba of Heimdall?
Yeah, I was like, we got one. We in this bitch. I was excited.
I agree, but he hated that role like a lot.
At first, yeah. He likes it now, though.
He likes it
now
because
in Ragnarok he got like a cool as shit role. But, I mean, the role, I like his role, but I feel like he was embarrassed by it. That's actually he was.
Well, here's the thing: Heimdall is strong as fuck, and I like how they didn't ignore that in the film. Because remember at one point, Loki's talking to him, and he's like, "Heimdall, you're strong as fuck. How come did Father ever fear you?" And he was like, "No, because he knew that I knew he was my king." And I thought that was a good line to put in because, like, when you read, like, basically Heimdall's power is he can see all things. Like, all things. He can see all things.
All realms.
In all realms. And he's strong as fuck. And he's a great fucking soldier with the fucking sword. And he's ridiculously, like, powerful. But he, in the film, I don't think you get it if they don't put that line in there to make you realize that, like, this is somebody not to be fucked with. And then, after he was frozen, when he fucked those two frost giants up to help Thor, to open the fucking bridge for Thor, was really good as well. What do you guys think of Tom Hiddleston as Loki? Because I still think he's the best villain Marvel's ever had.
Marvel's had some rough villains, but he is definitely not one of them.
How'd you like him in this film?
He's great. I mean, he's cunning. He's like, you like hate him, and it's like that's what you're supposed to do.
You don't even hate him in this movie yet. I never really hated. I didn't hate him in this movie. But when he started to get to
actually, this movie, I kind of felt bad for him. I was like, he's like the redheaded stepchild that's always felt left out, and now he's lashing out because of his jealousy.
Yeah.
Because even at the end, he's like,
he still saved his daddy. He saved his daddy.
Well, if you think about it, his plan was actually kind of genius for what he was trying to accomplish.
No shit.
So why don't you talk about his plan?
So his plan, he had Odin banished Thor already, which Loki kind of orchestrated, knowing that he would react in such a way, So Odin banishes Thor. That leaves Loki the perfect opportunity to sort of, he confronts his father about being a frost giant. It ends up being too much for him. Odin passes out. Thor's out of the picture. Odin's in his Odin sleep. That means Loki is the next logical person in the hierarchy to become king. Now he can go back to the frost giants, make a deal with them, let them kill Odin, or so they think, and he'll give them the whatever that thing is called.
And then he can kill the frost giant.
Yeah, and then he goes and lets them into his chamber, and the mom walks in, or like the mom's protecting him, and they knock her out of the way. And right before they kill Odin, Loki kills all the frost giants.
So that
he looks like the hero.
The leader, yes.
But it doesn't work because Thor returns.
And then if I was Loki, I'd be like, and so even though Loki's shady, from the perspective of the other people, they don't know that. So then when Thor comes back and everybody loves Thor again, you can see why Loki's like, yo, I just fucking saved the realm, fucking saved my dad. and you guys still love this dude, like, so you can still. This is what I mean by like good writing. When I'm always talking about like good writing in movies and television shows, and good writing is when all the characters do things that you may question or you may not question, but it always seems to be a point behind it. And so even if it goes wrong, you can't really fault the character for their plan or their action. And as a villain, this was a fucking genius plan for Loki. Like, it wasn't like a dumb plan where you watching it like, this will never work, and then it doesn't work. Like, this plan is like, it was fucking working. They could have easily ended the film with Thor getting his powers back and helping stop the fucking frost giants or whatever, but Loki still being king because the rest of the fucking Asgard knows that he saved Odin and wasn't a bad person. Like, they could have easily ended the film that way going into the second film if they wanted to, but they didn't. But that tells you that the plan was really good. What did you guys think about Anthony Hopkins as Odin? Anthony Hopkins is like the GOAT.
Definitely.
He's awesome. Awesome.
He's Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Sir Anthony Hopkins, yes.
Yes.
He's
everything.
When he's in a scene, he just grabs the scene. Like, even in
he
this
glue,
film,
like the glow on him was just like, even though there was like, like Asgard always has a little brightness or that little, glow around them, he just steals the scene. Like, everything, the attention does gravitate to him. You're absolutely right. And he's amazing. Like, he is Odin. Like, and then, when we get to Ragnarok, he steals the show in that, as well.
Yeah, so I'll go right to Mike's wheelhouse. Mike, what do you think about the action scenes in this film? So there's really 3 big action set pieces. It's the first one on the planet with the frost giants, and then there's like the hallway scene where Thor's running to try to get to his hammer, and then there's the final action scene with the destroyer, and then fighting on Asgard with Loki. So what do you think about those scenes?
The action was great. I'm a huge fan of Lady Sif in The Warriors 3, and I love watching them fight with Thor. I'm kind of like disappointed that as the movies get on, you don't get to see too much of it more. But so that I like that scene a lot. Thor frustrates me in that scene just because of how arrogant he is. But watching the fight and like the team dynamic was cool. And then I love that when he's on Earth in the tunnel scene, he's very grounded. So you like got a sense of what he's like at his like full god mode, and then what he's like without any powers. That he's still a tank, but it like he's not like the Hulk where it's like when the Hulk's on screen the action's cool, but like I'm never really worried for him as a character.
Right.
But like now he's a human, so like I get to experience that as a viewer as well. And then the Destroyer fight and then the Loki fight were good as well. I don't think like I've made some complaints about the end fights in some of the previous movies being a little underwhelming, and I don't think that was the case here. I think it was really good. I think it was fun, and I think it was definitely well executed.
Devin, what do you think?
I thought the fighting was cool. I mean, it was just cool. Like it was exciting, entertaining, but other than that, like it didn't do anything for me. Like I just enjoyed the story and how the fights went along with the story.
I enjoyed the first few fight scenes. I thought the last one was a little underwhelming. I thought it just kind of ended abruptly with like Odin just showing up and saving them after he crushed the Rainbow Bridge. Because they weren't really fighting. Like he was trying to save the Frost Giants planet, and so he just crushed the bridge. And then Odin saves them from falling over. But it was just really weird seeing that. And then then Loki letting go of Thor's foot and falling into the abyss was interesting. So when that happened, did you think Loki was dead, or like what?
No, he's a god. He's a god, so no.
Yeah, I thought he ended up on Earth, which he did, but I was like, this is going to be interesting.
Not right away. Not right away. Yeah, obviously he did some shady things in between the movie when he gets to Earth, which we'll talk about next week.
I will say that I did like the part with the Destroyer and Lady Sif when she drove the fucking whatever her staff. Or
yeah,
whatever.
Lady Sif's a badass.
One of my other favorite lines in the movie is when Thor's trying to convince them to go to Jotunheim, and he's like, "Tell them, what did I do for you? What did I do for you?" And then he gets to Lady Sif, and he's like, "Who was around? Who was there for you when no one else was? When they didn't think a simple maiden could be a a powerful warrior, and she was like, I was, and he was like, well, I supported you. Something like that. I forget the exact lines, but she was just like, I was, and he was like, well, I supported you.
So what's interesting is like to see the difference in where these movies were in 2011 as opposed to like how big these Marvel movies are today. So like Thor, the first Thor had $150 million budget, and it made, let me see here, Thor made $449 million around the world, right? So think about that. So then Thor Ragnarok, which came out this past year, had $180 million budget, but it made $860 million. So almost double what the first Thor made. So that just gives you an example of like how far these Marvel films have come, where like the first Thor makes $449 million and this one makes $800 million with similar budgets. So that also tells you how great Thor Ragnarok was, but it lets you know that like Marvel has come a long way, and even back in 2011, all that stuff that they did and with Iron Man and all the movies we've watched so far, leading up to Avengers. Avengers is the movie where it turns the corner. Like Avengers is like, not that these films have been bad, but Avengers is the film that creates the superhero films that we see today. Like if you, I think we'll talk about this more next week, so I don't want to get ahead, but when we watch Avengers, like there's really not a lot of films before Avengers that are anything like Avengers. But we look back on it now because so many superhero films after that are similar or made in the light of Avengers. But at the time, that was very groundbreaking. It's also to tie that in, did both of you guys see the after credit scene?
Yeah, but I actually
Yay me! I did it this time. I was so happy for myself.
Go ahead, Mike.
I kind of disagree with you.
Okay.
I think that Avengers was definitely one of the best ones, but I don't think it was the turning point for what the universes are like now. I think that was Civil War. Because after Avengers, we still got a few movies that were just centered on Tony, Thor, and Cap. Because we had Winter Soldier, we had Iron Man 3, and then we had Thor 2. And then we got a little bit of like Ant-Man and Avengers. Well, no, I think there was more of like what we've been seeing between Avengers and Avengers 2. And then after Avengers 2, I think it went right into Civil War. And I think Civil War, the first time we see all these big heroes on one screen, plus two new ones.
No, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way the films are written and the way the action and the constant action and stakes and all these like big level things. You like see Avengers, that because like you see that in Guardians of the Galaxy, you see that in Ultron, you even see that in Iron Man 3 with all the suits and shit. And so it allowed them to. Avengers was such a big hit that it allowed Marvel to take chances with other films. I don't think we get an Ant-Man film if Avengers isn't so great. I don't think we get a Guardians of the Galaxy film. I don't think we get a spy thriller like Winter Soldier if Avengers isn't so great. That film being such a success allowed Marvel to take chances on some of these other properties and build out their universe to make their universe so much bigger than what it was in these first few films. But I agree with you with what you're saying about that, about the people on the screen. But I was more so talking about Avengers allowed the MCU to exist in the way that it does today. Look, I just saw I don't know if you saw it, Devin, but I just saw the Ant-Man and Wasp trailer, and I'm watching that, and I'm like, this shit looks great. Like, it looks so much fun.
It did look good.
Fucking Hope Van Dyne is fucking running on a knife. I was like, that scene is fucking incredible. Like, and this is just the first trailer for that. And I don't think there's no chance in hell that we get an Ant-Man and the Wasp film. A second film starring Ant-Man if the Avengers film isn't what the Avengers was. So, I thought that was, I think that's fucking awesome. Anything else about this film before we get into our final thoughts? Anything else you want to talk about?
No. I watched the cutscene.
That's what I wanted to see. What did you guys think about this? I ask this every week, but what did you guys think about this after credit scene? Because I thought this one was
good.
I thought this was good because I put myself back in 2011, and I remember watching this, and I was just like, I can't fucking wait for Avengers. Like, after seeing this cutscene, it's like, you can't wait for Avengers. So, Mike, what do you think about it?
Because Thor will be back in the Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Captain America though was the one right before Avengers, right? So I remember back then you still had to wait a lot of time, but now in the order it makes a lot more sense, and it's like, yep, this is about to happen. Like this is it, the big one that changed everything.
Yeah, and you see that they have the fucking cosmic cube.
Right.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, like, I didn't know what that was when I saw the movie the first time. I was like, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's right.
And they give you the hint that Loki's going to be the villain, the big bad, because they show Loki manipulating Selvig when he's talking to fucking Sam Jackson about the cosmic cube.
Yeah.
Did you guys pick that up?
Definitely. No, you see it in the mirror. Yeah, definitely. Again, you just don't know. You just know Loki is going to be in the shadows somewhere doing Loki things.
Right.
But yeah, you just you don't know what's coming in Avengers. You're just like, oh my God, what is this cube? And the Avengers is coming next. That's what's up.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go around. Mike, what was your favorite part of the film? What did you like least about the film, and what would you give it as a grade?
What I liked least was just like what we said earlier, the timing. It felt weird, like you guys were saying, or like Devin was saying. It felt like it was like 3 days, but I hope it wasn't, because that doesn't make any sense. But honestly, it's something that I could overlook. Favorite part of the movie, honestly, was the comedy, just because like I wasn't expecting it. And it always it's funny to this day, even after watching it so many times. Like I can still laugh.
I would agree. Yeah.
And I think I'd give it like an 8.5.
All right, same thing for you, Devin.
Something I just didn't like. I didn't like how Jane was really like. I don't know that I didn't like it. I'm just gonna say that, like, I guess if you're looking at Chris Hemsworth that much, like, you would eye fuck him too. Like, Natalie Portman was eye fucking this man the whole fucking movie, and I was like, they should be fucking at some point, other than the last scene where they kiss or whatever, the little kiss or whatever, because she was on it so hard. Like when they went out in the woods, when they went out to get the hammer back the first time, and they were fucking doing a stakeout. Other than that whole part, I love the movie. But Natalie Portman was literally trying to throw herself at this man the whole movie, and I did not like it. Favorite part, I'm going to say this Thor's banter and, like, being naive on Earth and like, them not believing in who he is. And the jokes that write themselves. The Jackie Chan part was funny as well. What else did I like? The movie's great. I'm gonna give it an 8 overall, because it was just enjoyable, and I really liked it.
Yeah, my favorite part of the film was just the unplanned humor. I thought it was just great throughout the film. All the lines that had funny lines, and Chris Hemsworth, I just think he is Thor, and he makes the film. And I just kind of want to see him. And I also thought the cast was really well casted.
Really good.
For what they were trying to get across. I thought it kind of died a little bit in being on Earth. I like Thor's stories to be more larger than life stories, as opposed to him being grounded. I don't look for the Thor character to be grounded, because he's a fucking god. So I want to see him be a god and deal with other gods, as opposed to being like grounded on Earth just like a man. So I wasn't really into that part, although the dialogue was funny in that part. And I also didn't think the Jane-Thor relationship was earned. Like, I think they kind of gave it to us because Jane and Thor love each other in the comic books. But in the film, it was basically, like Devin said, Jane wanting to fuck Thor, and Thor completely being oblivious to it and just being Thor. So they never really, it kind of just jumped to them being, like, in love, where it didn't feel like they built on that enough for me to be really into it.
Right. Because the only way you're believing that is that Thor is just really indebted to her for helping him get back the hammer and being the only person that believes him. But she really didn't even believe him. She was just willing to help him because she wanted to fuck him. But yeah, other than that, yeah.
Also, that's like the peak of white privilege. Because
oh my God,
if it was a black man talking about I'm a fucking god and I've got to get back to this, people would be like, this dude's on crack. They'd call the police immediately.
Man. I can't wait to talk about Agents of Shield. That PCP was real.
Oh yes, don't get me started on that. But yeah.
But anyway,
so I give this a 7.5.
How much was the check? How much was the fucking check that fucking Shield gave Jane? Cause goddamn.
Oh yeah, she didn't even look at it. I was like,
she didn't even fucking look at it.
What? Are you smacked?
Yeah.
And she got to keep the check, and she got her shit back.
Fucking rich as fuck, yo.
Shame.
Oh
yo.
man.
She better be rich as fuck in Thor: Dark World. I don't remember, but she better be rich as fuck.
But like, yeah, what you were saying, like, I don't really fucking like Thor on Earth, like, because even on Thor: Dark World, that shit isn't good. Like the Earth parts, like it's either like, oh, Earth is about to be destroyed and shit, like, but it really wasn't good. The Earth parts aren't really good, and the only thing saving it is the scenes with Kat, whatever her name is. I don't know what her name is in the movie. Darcy, yeah, she's fucking everything.
Yeah, so next week, so that'll wrap it up for us for Thor. Next week, we're going to get to one of the big points in the MCU history. We're getting to Avengers, the first Avengers film. So thank you guys for listening. Make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn. Follow us on Twitter and kind of interact with us. Give us some feedback from the show. And we will be back soon. Thank you.